Welcome back to the garage, guys. I'm Damien, and this is the binder book. You know, when I started this channel, I actually wanted to share my experiences building this bug, as well as some other projects in the future. And not just, hey, look what I've done, but this is kind of where I screwed up as well. And while there's been several kind of just like mishaps, little oopsies that I've covered on camera, there's also a couple of things that have happened off camera or at an odd spot that that I'd also like to share with you guys. Just, I don't know, call it a learning experience, or maybe just for pure entertainment factor. And to be honest, the main reason for sharing some of this stuff is to show that despite our best efforts, we're still going to have issues, you're going to have problems, setbacks and things where just things don't go as well as we like. And they happen to all of us. I mean, even professional shops have mishaps and setbacks and things of that nature. The point is, if we keep trucking through these mistakes, we're eventually going to get to the end of our project, well, hopefully. So I'd like to share with you some of the bigger mistakes that I've made and some of the setbacks that I've experienced. I want to be clear, this video is not about calling out anyone. The people that I got these products from, they didn't lie to me, they didn't mislead me, and frankly, I'd buy from them again. It's just what you deal with when you have used parts. They are used parts. When you get new parts, you have a reasonable expectation that they're in fairly good shape, but not so much with used. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Now, this first mishap, it kind of not really set me back, but it was kind of like, oh, darn it, you know, type sort of thing, was with the coilover shocks. Now, I found an awesome deal on some used coilover shocks that had been in an accident. The guy was very open about him having wrecked his vehicle, and he was selling the parts off it. When the shocks arrived, they arrived in good condition. They were exactly as described. The only issue was there was some oil contamination on the box. All right, so I've got some oil contamination, like so. I did find a lot of oil in and around this shock. I already kind of wiped it off, but I noticed that this hose is crimped. When I woke up that night to go to work, as I was passing by my fab table, I had to go and take a look at the shocks. And this is what I found. All right, guys, how you guys doing? It's nighttime, but check this out. So after my video, I just left them on my bench, and you'll notice, oh, we got some oil coming, but it's not from that one. And there's that big kink. It's not from that. It's from this one. And you can see that? Yeah, that's it. It's actually from the small kink one. All right, it looks like, coming back to this now, there was a second puddle over here, right underneath this one, the one with the big kink in it. And so it looks like the kinked ones are the culprits. See the red? Sorry about the lighting, but we'll stick some paper towels underneath them. Go. All right, we'll see what's going on. See how bad the leak is, but obviously need two. All right, come back a day later just to see which one leaks the worst. Obviously, the one with the big kink in it is leaking the most. Look at that. If I squish that, oh yeah. Yeah, so surprise, surprise. I had not just one leaky shock, I had two. So I don't know when they got damaged. I don't know if it was in shipping or before in the accident, but either way, I'm not mad about it at all. It's just, this is one of those things that just kind of comes up. Now, I was able to look up online to see how much these little braided lines are cost. And luckily, they're between $20 and $40. And frankly, this deal saved me at least $1,000. So am I mad about having to spend $40 on a couple of extra braided lines? No. In fact, I'm still super glad I got it. Now, my second big setback that kind of deflated me a little bit was my steering rack. Now, again, I found some parts online, having looked and stuff, and I saw a steering rack, and I was like, man, I need a steering rack. I'm going to buy the steering rack. It was a good price. I went ahead and got it. And in my haste, and frankly, my ignorance of the whole steering rack stuff, I bought a steering rack for a beam car, and I needed one for an A-arm car. And what's the big difference? Well, size-wise, especially the height. I needed something much more compact that would fit in between my A-arm mounts. and this bottom steer rack wouldn't fit. It was just too big. You could really see the disappointment in my face. I was a little disappointed at that point. I was like, oh man. I was looking forward to putting it together. The good news about that situation, and you saw it on the video, was I had a guy who was interested in the box, who happened to be a latest rage dealer. So he was able to take this box off my hands and give me a deal and put that towards the new box that I needed. But what you didn't see is shortly after the guy received the box that I sent him, he sent me this video.
Yeah, this rack isn't any good. Time for missing some teeth in it. It's locked up right there.
So shortly after receiving that video and obviously sending him the money as was the right thing to do, look what I got. See what came, shall we? Bam. All right, check this out. That's a nice looking rack right there. It is one of their heavier duty ones. Very happy I got that. Like that it has the little thing there to tie the two bolts together when you screw everything in. Very smooth. See, as you guys can see, this will fit very nicely up front. That's what I needed. I needed a front steer rack and pinion. But yeah, this looks pretty good. Black anodized. That's nice. That's very nice. Everything's new. Nice. Got the 6x1 bolt pattern or thread pattern. And then some more threads there. So another problem that I ran into was the problem with the steering knuckles. Now, I had already bought some steering knuckles from Apple Tree, and I got them with the 2-inch hollow spindles. And I had got my Heims and all my hardware that I was going to use for ball joints, so to speak, from Rough Stuff. I kind of hoped that they would all fit together fine, but then this happened. All right, another thing that defeated me on Saturday was when I put this whole thing together, and I kind of knew it. I was going to have this issue, but you'll probably notice that this isn't exactly the way it's supposed to be. So these are the misalignment spacers that came with the Heims. I got the Heims from Rough Stuff, and they came with the jam nut, the weld-in bung, the Heim itself, and the misalignment spacers, right? And that sounds like a good deal, and it was an extremely good deal. But what isn't a good deal is this part. You put these things together, and it does not fit in the knuckle. The knuckle is too narrow. The way I was mocking everything up is I just put one side in, and then I could use my dowel. But yeah, so I can still mock it up, right? But another setback. And so between this setback and the rack setback, yeah, Saturday wasn't my favorite day working on this. I was hoping for lots of progress, and I knew this was an issue, but you know, combine this with that, and so that was my Saturday. What'd you guys do on Saturday? Anyway, lucky for me, my buddy at work was able to machine those misalignment spacers down so they fit into my knuckles. And you would think that would be the last part of the problem, but it turns out he is very, very precise. And what that meant was he made them exactly the right size. I mean, like zero tolerance. And my problem is my big fat fingers weren't able to put them in there correctly and fit them in and slide them in. I mean, they almost went in, and you see me wrestling with it, but in reality, they needed to be opened up a little more. So I picked up my grinder with a sanding pad, took a few thousandths off, opened them up just that little bit so they would fit just nice, and I could maneuver them in fairly easily, and problem fixed. Yay. Now, my last and latest setback was while building my bulkhead. Now, as you guys know, I had two sets of tabs on this thing, but one is mysteriously missing all of a sudden, and you didn't see that because honestly, when I realized the problem, I was kind of, we'll just say, disappointed. I might have hemmed and hawed a little bit and looked at it sternly for a good long time. So it didn't come out on video, but eventually I decided the best way to fix it was to cut them off. So why did I cut them off? Well, when I started building my car, I started kind of watching various YouTube channels that covered how to build desert cars. And one of those channels is called Wings World. And they were explaining how they're doing, beam mounts and things of that nature. And this is what they said in one of their videos when building brackets and stuff. Look, watch this.
I'll add 30 thousandths over whatever I'm trying to mount in between two tabs. And the reason for that is when you weld everything up and it's 30 thousandths over, when you pull this spacer back out, everything kind of goes into its place, and then it'll still slide onto whatever you're trying to mount in between the tabs. This just slides together super nicely still. That 30 thousandths over, it just allows for everything to slide together nice and easy. So
now I'm sorry to say, I actually thought of that exact clip while I was building my mounts. And I was like, yeah, I should probably put a spacer in there, make it a little wider than what I need, just in case the heat warp does strike, but I justified it away. Oh, I don't have that size spacer. I don't, it's not a big deal. I'm being very exact. All the silly excuses you make. It's almost like when you start justifying something, you should just stop and just do it, because if you have to justify it, chances are you know better. Well, I knew better. I didn't do it. Fast forward to today, in this last couple of videos, I've been assembling and disassembling the A-arm setup many times. And every single time I've got to really force the arms in, and frankly it's just a big pain in the butt. So long story short, I cut off the up front tabs, remocked everything up with the proper spacing, this time with the spacer, and I will be welding everything back together. Moral of the story is, don't do what I did. Make sure that you have the proper spacing on your tabs even after welding. You won't have to cut everything back off and do it again. Anyway, those are the major setbacks that I've had on the bug so far. Nothing too crazy. They have been quite disheartening at times, because it's just like you come out, like that one Saturday, I came out to make a lot of progress. I had some time, I had some opportunity, and I just kept running into one after another, and it was just like, ugh, come on, you know what I mean? So if you're building your own project, I hope that some of my setbacks and some of the things that I'm going over here are going to help you save some time and some heartache. Because goodness knows we get derailed enough just from life and drama that we don't need any more self-inflicted wounds, so to speak. And if you're not building your own rig, I hope that my ignorance in some of these things and some of these setbacks has at least entertained you. And don't worry, there's still a lot to do on the bug. There's lots of chances for setbacks and mistakes. I'm still going to be plugging away at them and building this thing up as best I can. I hope you enjoy the trip. Please like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Damien, and this is the Binder Bill.